Marcie, thank you so much for being part of our anniversary weekend. And
Of course, happy anniversary to you. 2 years.
111 consecutive weeks have not missed a weekend.
Phenomenal.
That's
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah. Well, and you've been a really important guide for our tribe as we make it through these incredible times. So, what are your thoughts about the last 2 years, and what are your thoughts about where we're going?
Well, wow, what 2 years these have been. Really. Okay. Well, I think like so many people I'm sure are speaking about this, we're on the verge of a major transformation, a major transition. The word crisis means a turning point, and we can either wake up or we can do the same old, and the same old is not going to work. We're going to self-destruct. And I think that this is an incredibly exciting time. Of course, after crises and challenges and dark ages comes the Renaissance. And I think we are here for a Renaissance. And this Renaissance is for the waking up of consciousness. And I think people feel this, they know this, we get that it's a big time on the planet. Anybody who's here now listening to this gets this, and it's no mistake that we incarnated now. We were born for these times. We are called for this time. And I think what we're seeing is the last couple of years, a big thing that happened is that people reprioritized. That people were accomplishing things, that they climbed a mountain and they realized they were climbing the wrong mountain. And this has been called a time of the great resignation. People have resigned from jobs like crazy, and they're leaving what they were doing to follow their hearts. And I think that this is phenomenal. Scott, 2 years ago, I was honored to be on one of those first Saturday Night Lives, and during that time, we were just starting the pandemic, maybe a few months into it at the time. And I talked about three things that I thought were being called of us. And I just revisited that when I knew I was coming on here. And I want to speak to those three things that we talked about. We talked about that we were being called to a different pace, a different space, and a different interface. And here's what I meant by those: the pace, we were being called to slow down. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, and maybe you've had this experience too, who've said, I needed this so badly. I didn't realize how burned out I was. And I think that people are recognizing I can't, that pace that I was living at before was unsustainable. And now there's got to be a different pace that's more honoring of a sustainable lifestyle that really works. And then space. We really started paying more attention to where were we. We gave more attention to our homes, our outer space to become. I know I've done a lot of home improvement in the last couple of years, but also to my inner space. What do I want my inner space to be like? And I've seen so many people uh, doing much more of their inner work. And then interface. I think what we've seen is the importance of community, of connection, of relationship. The happiness research has always said that we need to have connection to be happy. And we've seen that people who fared the best through these couple of years were those who stayed connected. And, thank you to you, Scott and Deborah, for Saturday Night Alive, that you came in to offer community. And that was, really born of this need to connect. And so I think that we need to move forward with these three things in mind. Am I going to move forward at a pace that's sustainable? And I'm going to continue to give attention to living in an inner and outer space that really works for me. And am I going to continue to be in connection and in relationship and in community in a way that is life nourishing and supporting?
Beautifully stated, and I love that you went back to that. And yes, I have noticed so many people that needed to slow down. Um, and people that have their dharma, we're blessed when we know what our dharma is.
Mm,
It's a really good thing. And I
yeah.
think for a lot of people, they needed to get out of what they were, where they were, the mountain they were climbing, as you said,
Yes.
get back into a restful place and really be able to listen to spirit of, oh, this is what I really need to be doing. This is what really matters in my life. And
Yeah, there's a beautiful Howard Thurman quote that says, um, let me try to remember it properly. It says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive."
mm,
And I think that is so important. It's not, okay, what do I need to what yes, whatever it is that you're called to do, what makes you come alive is what the world needs. And I think that's a really important thing that we all reflect on is what is it that is. So I'm very grateful again that what makes you come alive, Scott, is this. So
yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you for all that you've been, all the times you've been on the show, helping people learn about miracles. That was just one of
oh,
our absolute best shows we ever did. I really
I
love
love
the
doing
show.
that, Scott. And, right now, as we, we're at that point 2 years ago, we were looking at the pandemic, and now we're looking at the world, in a very different way in the Ukraine and the whole crisis there. And what I've seen is that people, what's going on now, we're empathic by nature,
Mhm.
and we are all connected to other people's suffering, and it certainly triggered us. My grandfather actually came from Ukraine when he was 14 years old, so
Mm,
I feel a very, very deep impact for that from that. And I think what I'm seeing these days is that people are falling into kind of one of two camps about how they're dealing with this. And one is where people are either feeling hopeless and
mhm.
powerless, or people are saying, you know what, we can't afford for us to stay hopeless and powerless. And really the antidote to being hopeless is to have vision.
Mm.
We need to have vision. We need to be able to imagine or dream what's possible. Everything starts with that vision or dream. So we have the ability to hold on to a vision to for a peaceful world. Visionary is someone who looks not at what is, but at what is possible. And we watch the news and it may look like it's impossible, but we need to be the ones to, like John Lennon says, imagine all the people living life in peace. We have to be the visionaries, the ones who can hold on to that possibility. And then I also think that instead of feeling powerless, which means I can't do anything to make a difference, we have to own our responsibility and the difference that we can make. We make a difference just by living in the light as much as we can. Our light impacts the world. We make a difference by sending our light and love. We are a force of light and love, and our energy and our attention can be a very powerful gift for the world, for people across the world. And then we can also take action wherever we feel inspired, whether it's donating or whatever it is you feel called to do. So we are truly here right now to be a stand for what's possible, to imagine that, and to be empowered in our actions, so that we can make this all really the shift that this world needs right now, the renaissance that's being called from us.
I wish the entire world could hear what you just said. I mean, you summed up so perfectly, really, where we need to go in
Mm.
such an inspirational but very clear way. And you're just a brilliant communicator, Marcie.
No, Scott,
Yeah.
you're a wonderful communicator of all of this to the world, broadcaster of all of this to the world. And Scott, it may sound trite, but I must quote the chorus of Imagine,
Right.
because you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Someday you'll join us, and I know everyone here is joining us. We are together in this, and the world will live as one.
God, thank you so much, Marcie. That was perfect.
Mm.